Hey everyone, so we're going to go through Bitcoin today and I'm going to give you a clear plan for you to follow moving into next week so that we know exactly where price is going to go and what to do at the key levels that we're at the moment. I want to show you the key areas of where you should likely be buying and where you should be selling if we make that big push higher to about $53,000 that we spoke about last week. We talk about last week's close being very, very significant. And since that strong candle that we had last week, I think Bitcoin is looking really good because we've actually managed to hold this area and hold the $46,000 area really, really nicely. We're holding the weekly 121 moving average that we bounced from. We're above the weekly 21, we're above the daily 21, sorry. And then also, if you have a look at the moving average 50 on the weekly, you can see on that as well that we are looking pretty good and actually holding at this green zone that I've marked out over here. So really nice, just over here. And we speak about, you know, holding the 50. Were we going to basically dump straight away after piercing through the 50? But not only have we managed to close above it last week, we've also managed to actually hold this level for a second week. And I think that there is likely to be continued upside moving into April, which also tends to be a typical green and positive month for crypto and Bitcoin. Now we're going to dive into the current and immediate price action for Bitcoin that we are in at the moment. And we spoke about this $46,000 area. Once we break this, we are looking for bullish entries and continuation for price to move higher. And we also spoke about this first order block over here, not to buy this pump straight away. And then any retracement down here would be really nice, really healthy for some continuation to the upside. And I think that is what we are getting at the moment. Now, since breaking $46,000, I think that this little bounce over here means that we can hold this area and we can go straight to the upside. But if we do form another correction and move a little bit lower over here, I wouldn't want us to go too far past about $42,500, $43,000 area for any sort of deeper retracement before a move higher. But if you caught this trade from last week, I'd say really, really good. Anywhere in this zone is a really nice place to enter, and I'd have put my stop loss down here at about 43.3, 43.4, below this spike wick over here, about a week and a half ago. And our contention is that we are going to challenge $53,000 because we talked about reclaiming that $46,000, so using it as support and bouncing, and we talk about, you know, consolidating and then moving higher. So that looks like what we are potentially going to do here. And I still think that the more likely scenario here is that Bitcoin does move higher and challenge some of these range highs. And that's where I think the real resistance is most likely to come. So, I think that we can move up to here and we can, potentially take out some of these highs as well. Now, we don't know yet whether it's going to be a trap or whether it is the move that leads us onto new all-time highs, but I would definitely expect the real resistance to basically be somewhere in and around here at about $53,000 or so. I would also look and keep an eye out for a trend line break over here that I've just drawn out in white, because if we move up here first, I think it's likely that we take out the highs from last week at about 48.3 thousand, which is also the daily 200 moving average. So if we move above this weekly high, that gives us the signal that we are looking to push higher. We would have broken through the daily 21. Let's see where that is. The daily, not daily 21, the daily 200 moving average, you can see that that is about 48.3 thousand. So if we move above that, I think that takes us to the next level, the next range high, like I said, which is going to be somewhere in that $53,000 range. So areas that I'd be looking for any potential cheeky bids for me would be anywhere just below this low that we got yesterday at about 45,000. So somewhere here we can test some order blocks just over here on some lower time frames. That's definitely a potential for us to move down here and then move higher. But any move down to about $42,500 I think is buyable for a run up to to those higher prices that we talked about. But where for me I would draw the line in the sand is, I think if we start getting to about below $42,000, I would be cautious of taking out these lows. But really, the line in the sand for me, I would have to say from a technical point of view, was that if we lose this area at about 37,600, 37,000, and we start to take out these lows, okay, I think that we're moving much lower. For the moment, I do think that we are looking pretty good for Bitcoin. Just be aware that we don't do something similar here, okay, than what we did back in February the 15th, February the 16th, around that time, where we pushed into this nice impulsive high. We came down, got the retracement, and then we basically tested the order block, okay, that we made the high at over here, similar to this sort of fractal here, and then we came back up and then we moved down. So is this move that we move up higher and then move back down? Okay, we want to just, be careful and just keep an eye on that, but that's something that I want you to keep an eye on. But I think that if we break that trend line, okay, and we do something like this, and then puncture above it, and we start testing up to this 48.3 level and go above the weekly range high from last week, I think we're good for moving higher. Remember, if you want Bitcoin to go to new all-time highs, make us all filthy rich, and go to about 200K, don't forget to like the video down below and subscribe if you haven't already. But if we have a look at the Dixie as well, the DXY, let's just bring that up over here. I think the DXY is still loitering towards, higher prices here. So although this does typically tend to put pressure on Bitcoin, which is why I'm cautious of that potential leg down to about 25K, somewhere between 20, 30K, okay, is just be aware that, when you see that continued strength in the DXY, maybe that will put pressure on Bitcoin if we get some quick, fast run up, potential bear market rally up to those price levels of 53,000, or potentially as well, look for the DXY to maybe show a little bit of weakness over the next week or two in April. And if we can push down here, maybe that will give Bitcoin a little bit of breathing room to move a bit higher. But if we see some sort of impulsive move like this or like this in the DXY, just be aware that, that might put pressure on Bitcoin, because as you know, we speak about these two assets being inversely correlated. Final thing to note as well is that BTC dominance has been bouncing since the start of the year. So BTC has been the better asset to hold overall. Although at the moment we are seeing the dominance trend down and back towards these range lows. Okay, so I just want you to be aware that if that continues and the altcoins can outperform Bitcoin if it's sort of showing that sort of sign of strength, but I still think that we get that next move up. But if we break these range lows, like I said, attacking levels for a fourth time does usually tell me that they're going to break. Is that if we do get this big surge down here and we break this level of about 39% or so, and we move lower, that could give the altcoins a real big push and a momentum to move higher, and potentially even move towards at least a mini altcoin rally, where we can start to see some of these altcoins really outperform and start to do some crazy stuff. But at the moment we're still essentially in this range for BTC dominance, and if we did break down below here, then you look for some of these lows that we got to back in 2018 of about 35%. But yeah, definitely something that I'm keeping an eye out for as well. So I hope you got some value from this video, and we've marked out those key levels. We got our clear plan of about $46,000 that we've managed to break above, hold some key moving averages, consolidate here potentially for that next run, and move up to the next range high, which is going to be somewhere over here at $53,000. But Bitcoin looking good. Do not fight the trend when the trend is moving in a clear direction. I don't think that the bears have much of a case for the moment, at the very least, because breaking this key level and holding it for 2 weeks is actually looking pretty good for crypto and Bitcoin. So just look for some of those order blocks to enter. And like I said, the last place that I'll be looking for any potential entries is that if we break the low of last week, look for this order block over here at about 42,500, 42.3 thousand, as an, you know, that's the lowest that I'd like to see it go for potential continuation higher. But there's no guarantee that we get down there. Invalidation is below these lows over here for me at about 37,000. If we go down there, then we're going a lot lower. If we can hold here and make that push above the weekly high, in my opinion, it's pretty simple. You aim for 53,000, take a few altcoin picks if you want to for the ones that look pretty strong, and hold until BTC gets to that level. Like the video down below, subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up to date with my daily videos that I'll put out in the week to try to keep you on the right side of the market. Until the next video, peace out.